right, good evening, everyone. This is the February 20th.
This conference is no longer being recorded.
Sorry, go ahead, that was me, sorry.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. This is the February 23rd, right? 2022 meeting of the Auburn Conservation Commission. Permit me to confirm that members are present and can hear me. So joining remotely, I see Catherine Norberg. Catherine, can you signify that you're present, please?
Yes, hello, this is Catherine. I'm present.
Okay, great. And in attendance with me are Vice Chairman Tom Fallon and also Member Michelle Colross. So we do have an agenda. I am advised that on tonight's agenda that we had certain matters that were scheduled for public hearing, but they have been continued. So let me go through that list, and then we can attend to other matters.
I have to report it again, excuse me.
So the first item on tonight's agenda was...
This conference will now be recorded.
The first item on tonight's agenda was the public hearing. Graves Engineering was the applicant for, to improve parking at 35 Swanson Road. My understanding is that that matter is going to be continued, although not to a date certain. And then secondly, at 7:05, we had a hearing for 54 Prospect Street. I have been advised that a new plan is going to be submitted regarding that property. It's also my understanding that the applicant has requested a continuance to our meeting on March 9th at 7 p.m. Is there a motion to continue the public hearing for 54 Prospect Street?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, it's a vote. Okay, so we have a number of other items. The first item under other business is 190 Washington Street. So please come on up and identify yourself for the record, please.
Hi, my name's Phil Caraccio with Eastern Partners.
Okay, Phil. So we understand there were some complaints about runoff from the property.
Yes.
Okay.
Why-
Yeah, please, why don't you proceed?
So, you know, look, on the 10th, we had that severe storm and the snow melt. We did have some runoff. All things considered with the amount of rain and the snow melt, I think we held out pretty good. There were some breaches. Since then, we have done some work to try to minimize any more issues that goes on. I'll show you some of the work that we've done. First of all, once it happened, once I was there and seen it, I called Hydrographs Technologies. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're great for anything like this. And I had them bring me talk to them on what to do, and they suggest some earth stop, which is the crystals. They put on polymers to try to clean the water before it goes out in flock logs. And I have the sheet grading Indian sheets on those as well for you. So we went into a mode to try to clean as best we can. It's an ongoing practice. We had all of our things were in place, but we tried to do more when we can. So then little plan we gave to all the guys to implement. I got a few copies of them for you.
Well, I know in the past, we've remarked on the mounds of soil that have been stockpiled. And I presume you're going to be spreading those out as part of your ongoing
we sprayed.
projects.
We did spray the one up along the roadway, along Route 20. The other one was actively moving. We were actively working it until recently, so I'll get that one sprayed. Like I said, right now, our big thing is we've got to get the site stable, which is in April. That big loom pile you see there is going to get laid down
Okay.
and seeded all across there and get the growth in the beginning of the season.
Are these your copies, or can we keep
You
these?
can keep those.
Okay.
How did it look after last night?
It's an ongoing thing, but it looked a lot better, but it's working. I think it looks great compared to what we've had in the past. And even when that came, the day that it was going on, we went down to the water, and we did a turbidity test. I had Hydrographs do a turbidity test.
It's the same.
Yeah, they're all the same, right?
When they came out,
Okay.
they got a 78 turbidity test on the water at the water at the bridge, okay? And I really kicked myself in the butt because I should have had them go up and do where the water comes in, where it comes into the site, because I had them do it the next day, I called them. And I had a 20 at .1 at that point coming in. So the water really, even though it looks, it is not that bad, but it's not coming in 100% clean. So if you look at the levels, which is really neat for me, because this is a new thing I'm getting into. I actually went out and bought one of these meters myself so I can monitor water cleanliness. I'm kind of fascinated with it, but, so our parameters were close to that, the numbers where they're supposed to, where you're not supposed to go over, you know? Like I said, it's an ongoing thing, and we're trying to stabilize the site, and when we see something now, to do a little more to try to clean it up as it goes on.
Okay.
Site's in pretty good shape, I think, for the most part. I don't know, were you out there on the weekend?
No, I was not,
Okay.
but I've been out there many times. And we'll go out again, obviously.
Yeah.
The fact that we might get a foot of snow on Friday will probably dissuade me from going this weekend, but
Well, I'd love to walk it with you if you guys give me a buzz.
sure.
I know your schedules, but I'll come out anytime.
All right, well,
That
we'll
way-
let you know.
Yeah, and I told Eilish that as well. I'd love to, if there's something, because then if you guys see something that I don't see, I can address it right away. It's
Okay.
just better for all of us, you
Sure.
know?
Okay. In terms of your schedule, when do you think you're going to be finished with the site work on that project?
Realistically,
Yeah.
I was hoping to be done.
No, unrealistically, of course.
Yeah,
realistically.
no, I mean, honestly, with the roadway we've got there, that whole top end on the high side, I'm hoping we'll be done with there in, July.
Okay,
And then the rest of the work around the site, we got the Ross Express project we're doing there, and then there's another lot there, so I can't give you a definitive time, but for the stabilization time on the top side, I can tell you that. But
when is Ross Express going to start construction, do you know?
they've already have.
Oh, yeah, so they've started to dig, what, the hole for the foundation?
Yeah, they did footings going on. They're probably at 70% of the footings,
Okay,
and some, maybe 50% of the walls in.
all right, so we should go out there and take a look,
Yeah, it looks
maybe in a couple weeks after if we get snow, then after it melts. Okay, all right.
Phil, would you happen to know, are they gonna be required to do any kind of a stoplight or a traffic light on 20?
To my knowledge, no. I know that there is going to be some road work going on Route 20, some lane switches
Sure.
that they're talking, but, that's all. I'm a
That's
little
good,
guy.
it just, if we can
but-
keep the traffic moving,
Yeah.
it's better than having a light, especially if they're only,
Fortunately for them, most of their work's at night,
yeah, that's,
too, so that's great.
Yeah.
The trucks on the road.
All right. I don't have any other questions. Do you, Michelle?
nope.
Okay. Well, Phil, thanks for coming in tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you. You all have my phone number, right?
Oh, we do.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you.
All right. All right, take care.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Thank you. Good night.
The next item we have is Agilitis Energy, the solar farm at 476 Leicester Street. Is there someone here on behalf of Agilitis Energy?
Yes, this is Tom Ganowski from Agilitas Energy.
Okay. Sorry if I butchered the name.
No problem.
All right. So we had issued, as I think you know, we issued an enforcement order some time ago, actually, regarding, we've walked the site on several occasions. We saw tires. We saw other items of debris that we thought didn't belong near the wetlands. And we had sent the enforcement order to the owner. It's my understanding that there was some delay in getting the enforcement order to you. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, so when did you actually receive notice of our enforcement order, Mr. Gadomski?
I believe it was the week between Christmas and New Year's, and I reached out to Ginger that very next day.
Okay, so what steps have you taken to address the issues that we raised in the enforcement order?
So we've actually reset the sill fence, actually just this past week,
Okay,
along the bridge area and kind of down towards the first basin.
okay,
And then we've, obviously, as everyone knows, we've been dealing with, tons of ice and snow in this area. And really where all that trash. It was illegally dumped, public dumping that was kind of going on there.
I thought the pictures, I couldn't get any audio, I just got on with my lap.
Sir, there's,
Travis just got on too.
sir, I don't know who you are, but you need to mute your microphone, please. Okay. Mr. Godomsky, why don't you continue, please?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
In this area, we had dealt with a lot of ice and snow, and it really wasn't, not that it wasn't feasible, it wasn't easy to get the debris out. Obviously, we had a lot of thaw over the last week or so, and
Yeah, I just got on, so I can get on now. It's fine.
Sir, excuse
Is
me,
it old?
Sir, there's someone on this line, this matter is not, whatever your matter is, sir, is not being addressed right now. We're dealing with a matter relating to 476 Leicester Street. You need to mute your microphone because it's making it very difficult for us to understand or speak to the gentleman for 476 Leicester Street. Okay? Thank you. Mr. Godomsky, I understand that, that from time to time, people will dump tires and other debris. They see it as an opportunity to get rid of trash without having to pay for trash removal, but ultimately, that's your responsibility. If you control this.
absolutely.
So, what steps, if any, have you taken? Because when we went there, we saw, I don't know, maybe between 8 to 12 tires, I believe. What steps, if any, have you taken to remove those?
At this point, we haven't, but it's our intention to remove them as soon as possible.
I mean, it seems to me that should not take you very long, correct?
Correct, and one of the things that we were dealing with, as, I don't know if you could hear, there was a lot of snow and ice that was kind of built up over these items.
Okay.
And it was just this past week where we really had the thaw in order to be able to get into that area. We didn't want to bring a machine down there to dig anything out because it is the wetlands. We didn't want to, do any more disruption than we needed to. So now that it has defrosted, we're going to get in there as soon as possible to remove tires and everything else that's in there.
I mean, I think that's something that can be done manually. Frankly, you don't need a cat to go in there and remove the tires. That's sort of the first observation I have. And secondly, we're due for a storm on Friday. So my suggestion would be, maybe tomorrow would be a good time to get it done. Sir?
Mm-hmm. I'll have guys on site tomorrow, and we'll get down in there, and we'll get as much cleaned up as we can.
All right, so we're going to continue this for 2 weeks, or roughly 2 weeks. Our next meeting is going to be on March 9th, and so with any luck, and hopefully between now and then, we'll have a chance to get out there and see, the progress you've made. So I do want to thank you for coming or joining us this evening, and we look forward to seeing the site cleaned up.
Great, thank you for having me.
All right, thank you.
Through the chair, I'd like to just make one comment.
Sure, please.
Sir, have you considered relocating that gate, the lock gate, closer down to the road, even really as close as you could get to it? As a way to keep people from going up there and illegally dumping trash?
So we do have a swing gate that was installed. It was installed sometime late fall. A swing gate that goes across the front that we lock now at night, so people shouldn't be able to get in there anymore.
Okay.
At least with the truck.
Right. Great.
This is Allison. I also was wondering about the runoff that we were seeing down your driveway there. It looked like a lot of debris and sediment that was running straight down the driveway there.
So we are looking to install some hay bales down in the area and kind of just clean up the sediment that's on our driveway. So
Okay.
we'll get that done as well.
We'll look for that. Thank you very much.
All
You're
right.
welcome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Godomsky. We'll be talking to you in a couple weeks.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
All right. I understand that Mr. DeFutis is on the line for 10 Rotary Road. So, Mr. DeFutis, if you could unmute your microphone, that would be great.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, we I've had discussions with Greg Woods from the Auburn Water District, and I know you've submitted some photographs and other information to him regarding the construction that you performed at your property at 10 Rotary Road. And, sir, we have a number of concerns, and I know that Mr. Woods does as well. The first thing I'd like to say, Mr. DeFius, is that what was built, or what has been built at your property does not comply with what you submitted to our commission. And from our point of view, that's kind of a serious matter. When an applicant submits plans or a proposal to us, and they show what the scope of their project, and especially the impact it's gonna have on areas that are within our jurisdiction, we expect that the project will be, that what's built is gonna comply with what was submitted. To the extent that your plans, or for whatever reason, your plans changed, that would have required an amendment to our commission. So that's number one. Secondly, I'm advised by Mr. Woods that there's a question that some of your work may actually constitute a trespass on the Water District property. And as we indicated in the enforcement order, when someone submits a project to us, we presume that it complies not only with our bylaws and regulations and also the Wetlands Protection Act, but that it's also something that can legally be built, which is to say it complies with sideline requirements. It's a project that actually is going to be built on property that someone owns or controls in some other manner. And so, I recognize that that is a different issue. It's that the Water District, I believe, is going to address. But clearly, if they make a finding that the work you've done is a trespass on their property, then this project should never have been submitted in the form it was presented to us in the first place. So, again, sir, I'm not quite sure why we're in this situation right now. And I will say this, I think right now, we're waiting to see what the Water District is gonna do before we take further action. But again, to the extent that what you submitted is different, and I would submit to you, sir, it's substantially different from what you submitted to us, you may be required to take part of it down or to make changes to that.
So, what I'd like to say is per recommendation of the building inspector, we've made the first wall higher, and we removed we removed the wall. We basically made the first one 10 foot higher, and the second one 8, removing a 6-foot wall. We came as close to measurements that were put on that drawing as possible. And if you look at the beginning of that rounded wall, it is over 10 feet, as we stated. If you also look at the beginning part of the drawings, it also shows a straight shoreline, which what we don't have. I did submit drawings showing that I am where that old wall was. We did not come towards the water any more than what the old collapsed walls were. I went back as far as possible.
The question, though, is whether or not that wall was actually on your property. As I understand it, it may not have been. And again, I understand that mistakes can be made and mistakes happen, but, I know that under Massachusetts law, any trespass there can be an order.
Okay, I don't mean to cut you off, sir.
Well,
I've
you are.
pumped $200,000 into making this property better. If you please look at the complaints coming from across the lake, which I do not even believe is real people, I want you to look at the abutting properties that are next to me with the motors and the abandoned boats, the abandoned vehicles, the things that are wrecking the lake. And I'm sinking every dime and minute into this property to make it better, and everyone seems to be coming down on me. Now, I have lost patience with this. Please come out to this house and tell me for a minute I am trespassing or that I have done anything but what you're looking at. Look at the picture I just sent you.
Sir,
my measurements are the same as that drawing right there. I don't understand how it could possibly be trespassing.
Well, sir,
outside of people not looking in reality here.
Sir, all right? I told you before, I know that Greg Woods from the Water District has been out to see you.
He has, sir, but
Excuse
can I
me,
make a
do not
special-
interrupt me, sir. Please, I will extend you the courtesy, but do not interrupt me. All I'm saying to you is that what you've built does not comply with what you submitted to us. And that is an issue. I'm just trying to make you understand that. And that if part of this project, if there's a determination made by the Water District, not by us, but by the Water District, that any part of this project is trespass on their property, that's something that you need to address, all right? And
Okay.
respectfully, all right? Sir, we have no agenda here. I assure you. What we're doing here is, and our job, very simply, is to make sure that projects that are submitted to us comply with the law. It's really that simple. We have no other agenda. This is not respectfully a vendetta against you, certainly not by us. I can't speak about your neighbor, sir, because I don't know what their agenda is if they have one. I'm just telling you that based on what we've seen, and we've been out to your property, Mr. DeFutis, you know that, what has been built is not what you submitted to us. It's that simple. So,
That's not what was told to me when you were here.
sir,
You guys said this looks exactly like the print.
Sir, I absolutely did not say that. There's no bump out shown on the plan that you submitted. So look, this is kind of where we stand right now, all right? We're not gonna take any further action at the present time. The enforcement order we issued to you is for you to just not do any further work. And at this point, I think it's really, this matters in the hands of the Water District to determine what, if any, action they're gonna take, okay? And we'll leave it at that. But I wanna tell you that we reserve the right to have you make changes if need be, and that's all I'm saying to you. Okay?
Yes, well, just in the lines of what you just said about complying with the law, can someone please come out to my property, look at the abutting properties, and enforce the law that should be done here? I beg of you, I have abandoned vehicles, motors, oil, antifreeze, barns that have fallen down,
You're talking,
vehicles that have been there for over 3 years since I bought this place.
you're talking about,
And no one will lift a finger to take the real violations out.
you're talking about 179 Rochdale Street, correct?
I'm
Sir,
talking about Rochdale Street, and I'm talking about the property that abuts me on the right-hand side.
well, 179 Rochdale is on our agenda for this evening. In fact, I think it's the complaint that you filed against the property owner, and we will be addressing that this evening. Okay?
Okay, there's also, on the empty lot next to me, there is, within 5 to 10, maybe 15 feet of the water, there's been an off-board engine sitting there for 3 years solid.
Well, sir,
There is,
I don't have a complaint about that. I don't know who the property owner is. If you want to make a formal complaint, and we have complaint forms, then by all means submit it, and we will take a look at it.
okay,
All right. All right, Mr. DeFutis. Look, we want to resolve this in an amicable manner and in a cost-effective manner for you as well. All right? And I'll leave it at that, and with any luck, the Water District will come up with some sort of acceptable solution to whatever issues they have, and we can proceed from there.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes?
this
Allison?
is Allison.
Hi.
Is it possible to get some sort of plan view? You know, do you have a survey plan of this property and what's been done here? I think it would be really helpful if we could look at it from, you know, a bird's eye view instead of an illustration.
Oh, there's no question about it. Mr. DeFutis, you didn't have this surveyed before you submitted to us, correct?
I have, yeah, all the documents I gave you had the before and after.
That's different. We're talking about a plan by a surveyor showing your boundary lines and probably showing the boundary of that area that's owned by the Water District, their easement on Stoneville.
Okay, that was never requested.
Sir, I didn't say that we requested, I just asked you if you had one.
No, I do not.
Okay, all right. And are you scheduled to have any further discussions with the Water District about this?
Yeah, I thought he was gonna come over a week ago. I did send him pictures and measurements, and he said he did not think that, it measured that far, but clearly he could see from where I took pictures of the tape measure right to the wall, and he could see that. I think we're gonna be fine. He had stated he wanted to make sure you didn't have any problems with it.
Well, I think the central question here right now is, one of the questions is, where does your property end and where does theirs begin? And again, I think that's something that, that needs to be resolved. I really do. I think you need to know where your property is, and you need importantly to know whether any portion of the work that you've done is on the Water District property. Okay? And and seriously, with respect to whatever you say the building inspector suggested or told you what to do, I wasn't privy.
Tell me.
No, sir, I'm still talking. I wasn't privy to those conversations. I don't know that, I'm not saying they didn't happen, but I would also tell you that, you filed a very specific plan with us, and you've made changes to that plan. And when that happens, whenever an applicant wants to make changes, and if they want to make changes, that's fine, but they have to file with us. They have to let us know that they're going to do an amendment to their plan. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so Mr. DeFitis, we will, again, I think the ball is probably in the Water District's court at this point, and we'll see what transpires, and I'm sure we will be in touch sometime in the future, okay?
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you. So the next item on our agenda is, or a complaint was 179 Rochdale Street. In fact, Mr. DeFitis is the gentleman that filed the complaint. I did a drive-by. I think it bears a visit to the property. And that's something that I think we should try to get done in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, we have a potential storm coming on Friday, so it may not be this weekend, but I think we should try to get out there prior to our meeting on March 9th. And then finally, Mr. Walsh, on behalf of the recycling facility, or the transfer station, has filed, as per our requirement, a runoff treatment summary and also a stormwater quality report. Those were provided in your packets. Unless someone feels the need to discuss them, I think they speak for themselves, and it's something that you can review. So, I think that's what we have for the agenda for this evening, unless someone has anything else. Allison, any issues? I'm sorry, poor question. Anything that you'd like to address this evening?
Not that I can think of, no.
Okay. Catherine, anything on your mind regarding this?
No, nothing.
Okay. Well, in that case, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion?
Chairman,
Yes.
sorry, it looks like someone was trying to get your attention.
Oh.
Do you want to talk?
I'm sorry. Who would that be?
Brian.
Yeah, that would, I'm Brian Hassett. I'm an engineer for the DPW.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brian.
I signed on for 190 Washington Street, but
I'm sorry, Brian. Okay. Certainly didn't mean to cut you off. I wish you'd jumped in. You have any comments or thoughts about 190?
well, I just, I wasn't sure when I should, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess to reiterate, what Phil had been saying, he definitely had been getting out there, and get things fixed. Definitely working to get better than it was, and it definitely is better than it was. We've been going out relatively frequently, me and I leash, with the land disturbance permit.
Okay.
So we've been checking all that out. He's been pretty responsive about all the stuff we've been asking to do, in terms of the sediment getting through the mulch piles, the silt fences and everything. Including things like adding more silt fence, silt socks, or mulch socks, flock logs, all that kind of stuff. They kind of put it everywhere. So we've been out there since. It's a lot better. One comment, I guess, is there's definitely a decent amount of silt, I think, that got into the wetlands. I don't know if you guys were able to see that on your walks. I mean, if you saw it yourselves, I guess, there's nothing else to tell you that you didn't already see.
Right. Well,
And then, that was kind of it. I guess, I think there was a difference on the plan, too, about the basin on Lot 2. I think if I have the lot correct, that there was supposed to be a siltation basin initially, and there wasn't one. It was just going right into the detention basin area. And so I think that was the cause of a lot of the silt getting in there. That and the northwesternmost wetland crossing that they had with the box culvert. What else? Since then they do have a bit of silt trap, kind of like a forebay, before it reaches into the detention basin area there. So it looks like it's been pretty effective so far, as far as keeping the silt out of the wetlands. Everything I saw looked like it was, from the first event. Nothing really new since then.
all right, well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And obviously, if we get the storm they're saying we're gonna get, and it starts to melt, we may see a replay of this too, so.
I'm sure last night was a problem.
Yeah, so we'll have to keep our eyes on it. Obviously, we had a lot of rain, last night. I will say this, when, they tend to be pretty, responsive when we notify them of any complaints. And
Agreed,
I can't say that for other applicants that have appeared before us. So, and Brian, I appreciate your efforts and Eilish's efforts to monitor this. And, the good news is that according to, the gentleman here, they'll be done by July. So, I think the end is in sight, and, we'll make sure that everything that they have to do, they will do.
Yep.
All right, Brian, thank you for joining us. And I apologize that, to make you wait so long.
That's all right. Yeah, I just at least I got to tell you. So,
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
all right, have a good one, guys.
All right, you too. Have a good evening. Okay. Good catch. So, thank you for that, Allison. I appreciate the heads up on that. So, there was a motion to adjourn and there was a second. All those in favor? Say
Aye.
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 All right, it's a vote. All right, everyone. Have a pleasant evening. Hopefully, we won't have much more winter weather. I don't care what Pox Tonyville says. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. And actually, if we can do a site walk before March 9th, I will send emails to everyone, and hopefully we can do that. Okay, so thank you again for joining us tonight. Good night.
Good night.
Have a good one.